Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma. You can also call me Em, also known as Made in the Moment. If your social media algorithms are anything like mine, you've probably been seeing the Yarnspirations Granny Square yarn non-stop. When I saw this, I was a little skeptical. I was like, okay, that sounds kind of too good to be true. This is a yarn that is supposed to change colors for granny squares for you so that you don't have to tie the ends or do a magic knot or change colors on every row. You may have already seen Tony of TL Yarn Crafts or Kelsey from Passionate Goods do their reviews on this. I have watched Kelsey's, but I haven't watched Tony's yet. I was gonna hold out and wait, but I kind of wanted to see what Kelsey was gonna do because I know the way that she makes granny squares, and so I was wondering if that would work. So I wanted to watch that first. And also, Kelsey actually is the one that inspired me to get this yarn. She texted about it in our group chat, and I didn't realize she was making a video about it at the time. I thought she was just making a project and not vlogging it. I don't know what I thought. So that's what this is. We're gonna try it out. My tension is a bit weird, so I'm kind of anticipating that this is going to be a bit of an interesting process. I have kind of tight tension sometimes, but the fabric ends up a bit loose. I have a lot of trouble meeting gauge on projects a lot of the time, so I tend to like really have to size up or size down my hooks. And oftentimes I end up just saying like, oh, who cares, and adding extra rows in and stuff. But for this, I can't really do that. So we're just gonna see how this goes. So I got 2 skeins of this. The other one is in my yarn closet and I don't wanna get up and get it. So imagine there's 2. But yeah, I thought that this colorway was really nice. I will admit that I don't all of the colorways that they've come out with. I hope that they come out with more in the future. I did see that they have one that is the colors of the lesbian flag and the bisexual flag, which I think is really cool. Gotta say, I think it's a great idea. I hate weaving in ends, but I like the look of granny square. Yeah, I got 2 of these. My plan is just to kind of make as many granny squares as I can with the yarn and then see what I can make with them. I don't know, maybe I'll actually make a granny square blanket.
This is not nearly enough yarn for a blanket. I don't know what I'm on about.
So because this yarn is very specific, I've heard you have to start off with a certain amount and you have to follow their instructions for the granny square, which Kelsey did not do. So I'm gonna see if I can follow. Oops. No. Kelsey did not follow the instructions on the inside of this paper, so I'm gonna see if I can kind of follow her instructions, and that might leave me with like a really wonky square, but we'll see. Okay. And it recommends a 5.5, so I am gonna start with my 5.5 hook, and then we'll just see how that goes. So I'm supposed to start with the center pole, which I have already found. It was a really nice, easy center pole to start with. And then it says to make a slip knot 4 inches into the tail. I wonder if that's close enough. I'll redo it. Okay, so I have my tail. Then it says to chain 4 and slip stitch at the end of the round. Now I know some people prefer magic circle, but honestly, I like this way to start. It just feels a little bit more secure to me. And then the next step is to chain 6, but like Kelsey, I don't like this. I'm not gonna do this, but I'm gonna do a stacked single crochet instead. And then it says to chain 3 in the corners, but I'm gonna try chaining 2. Maybe make them kind of loose chains. Okay, so I'm coming up a little bit short here. Even with my slip stitch, I have like 1 chain too long. So I'm gonna just go back a little bit and try and loosen up these 2 clusters and see if that works. And that seems to have done a pretty good job. Look at that. Nice, clean color change there. Looking good. So now it wants me to chain 6, but I'm going to instead chain 1 and do a stacked single crochet. And then chain 1. I'm gonna keep doing a loose chain 2 in the corners. I'm wondering if I should just switch to my 6mm. I feel like I'm intentionally trying to crochet really loosely right now, and it might just be better to make the switch. I'm gonna get to the end of this round first though and see what happens. And I actually ended this a little bit short, like literally 1 double crochet short. So I'm gonna go back and make a few clusters tighter, I guess. I can do that. Okay, and that ended pretty perfectly. I'm like, got a little bit of color bleed here right in this last stitch, and then obviously my slip stitch as well is gonna be a little bit of a bleed. I don't know if it's worth going back to try and fix that. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'll do like a couple double crochets a little bit tighter. Okay, I feel like that did not help at all. Okay, I'm gonna redo this round and make the corner chains a little bit tighter because I did purposely leave those a bit looser, and I feel like that might make the difference. Already, the thing that I'm noticing is that it's pretty easy to manipulate my tension, and it's kind of hard to know like what the right tension is. I guess it's something that I'll get better at as I do this more and as I make more squares and get more consistent with it. But right now it just kind of feels like a guessing game of like, first round I felt like I had to go looser. This round I feel like I have to go a little bit tighter. And now I feel like I'm going a little bit too tight, but we'll see. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, look at that. Okay, that's sexy. All right, so turns out I needed to make it a little bit tighter for the second round, I guess. Let's carry on. I'm also gonna see if changing how I hold my hook has any effect on anything, because sometimes I do the pencil grip and sometimes I do the knife grip, and right now I have no rhyme or reason for why I do either, just like totally based on vibes. But perhaps this would be a good time to see if one of them maybe is looser or tighter than the other. I'm ending this round now with like a pretty significant tail. So maybe the pencil grip is a little bit tighter, or maybe I'm just crocheting tighter because last round I had to crochet looser. I don't know. If I can figure this out, this will be really fun and a great way to make granny squares. If my tension continues to be as unpredictable and volatile as it is, I could see this getting really frustrating really fast. Okay, I got a little bit closer this time. I'm just gonna start this round over and I'm gonna go back to my trusty knife grip that seems to have worked well for the previous round. We'll see if that does the trick this time. I think that this will, because I think that I pull up a little bit more yarn when I go around. using this grip. And hopefully that's the difference to get the color change where I want it to be. Also, maybe last time I didn't chain in all of the spots that I was supposed to. That feels like something that I would do. Okay, just ever so slightly coming up short. I'm just gonna do this corner again and see if that works. Go a little tighter here. Oh yeah. Okay, pretty close. I think once I do the slip stitch, that'll end up right where I want it. No, that is like one chain too long, isn't it? I'll just loosen this last double crochet of the row. No, the last cluster. Is that better? I don't know, but I'm not gonna redo it again. So I ended up with like a little extra, so I make my first stitches a little bit looser to make up for the excess. What am I doing here? What's going on? This is how much yarn we have for this one. No idea what I'm gonna do. Also, just for a time check, I've done 3 rounds and it's taken me 23 minutes. So right off the bat, first granny square, this is definitely taking longer than it would have to just change colors. I'm not immediately gonna write it off because I'm sure in the long run, once I get the hang of this, it will save me time. But I'm a little bit annoyed right now. And I'm really hoping that I can just magically get this round to be perfect. I'm saying it now. I'm not gonna have to redo any of the stitches. I'm gonna get the tension perfect this time. Just you wait. I'm getting to the end of the row and I'm getting a little bit scared. I feel like I'm not gonna have enough, but we're powering on. I saw someone in Kelsey's comments say that this yarn feels like a never-ending game of yarn chicken, and I've got to agree. I'm feeling quite stressed right now. But against all odds, we have made it just ever so slightly off. And I did skip a chain here. You know what? I'm gonna go back and skip this chain, make this chain. Oh, I have to go back. I said I wasn't gonna go back. Oh well. They gotta make one of these for people with weird tension. That's obviously a joke. Obviously they can't. Obviously I'm the problem. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. And yeah, I know part of the problem is that I'm not following the pattern, but Kelsey made it work, so if she can, why can't I? Okay. On to the final round, which is this cream. Here's what we got. The other thing that I'll say about this is, how am I gonna join as I go? Do I have to like sew the squares together? Is there something in the pattern that says this actually? Maybe I should look. Where does it say to join? Sew stitches using whip stitch. Okay, I'm supposed to buy a white. That's what I was gonna say. I wish that had been made more clear to me that I should have bought some of this white to connect the squares, because now I don't have any yarn to connect the squares, and I guess I'll have to buy some. And that's my fault for not reading the instructions. It does say it there, but I'm being nitpicky, okay? I can read, I can admit that I was wrong. Although, you know what? I wonder if there would be enough yarn to join as I go. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll make another square and see if I can join as I go, and if there's enough of the cream yarn. I'm going crazy, guys. I'm going off the rails. This is not... I'm not following the rules. getting stressed again. I can see the end. I think it's gonna work out though. Oh my god. I think... No. No. I'm literally one chain and one slip stitch away. Very close this time. Okay, we're getting better. This is kind of interesting though, seeing how close I am. And I'm also chaining less than they asked in the pattern. So I would be coming up like pretty short if I was following the actual pattern. But somehow it's working out okay. Oh. Chain, slip stitch, and look at that. Right on the money. I don't know where I'm supposed to cut it. I don't know if can I cut it? Do I have to cut it right here? Or is this perfect? Can I cut it like right here? Do I measure the 4 inches from here? These are the questions that I still have. I guess I'm gonna do that. I don't need a 4-inch tail for the next one, but I'm gonna measure 4 inches from this spot before I cut it and see where I need to make. Okay, this is my other question. Does the 4 inches start here where it starts to be blue, or here where it is dark blue? I wonder if these are questions that would be answered by me reading something. Let me get back to you on that. When motif is complete, cut yarn where color 5, longest color rep, so that's white here, ends, leaving a tail for weaving in. Start next motif with color 1 and repeat 5 rounds for each motif. But where do I cut? Am I allowed to cut it here? I don't know. I guess I'm gonna say that the 4 inches starts here and that the slip knot needs to be here. Is that 4 inches? Yes, that's 4 inches. But then I don't need a 4-inch tail. So I'm just gonna cut this like here. So I have a little bit. Okay, cool. And then I start this here. My initial thoughts, sorry, let me just clean up a little bit. I made a mess as per usual. First impression of this square is that it's pretty big, 6 inches by 6 inches, which is what the label said it was going to be. And that makes sense because I wouldn't have been able to do this if I hadn't met gauge. I feel like this is a slightly looser gauge than I would want for a granny square, but then again, I do like a stiff granny square, so maybe that's just me. But this, only having 2 ends to weave in, is lovely. In fact, I'll weave them in right now, just so you can see how long it takes. 1 granny square, start to finish, including time weaving in the ends. I'm a little worried about this tail. Perhaps next time I'll be a little bit more careful about ending where I'm supposed to end. I probably could have made this row a little bit tighter in some places. Or I guess I just weave this in enough and then cut off the blue part. I'm full of good ideas today. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, okay. No, that's really nice. But because I'm curious, I'm gonna make another square and I'm gonna see if I can have enough yarn to do a join as I go moment for the 2 squares. Oh, also time check. It's been 39 minutes. I would say I finished this right around 38 minutes. Took a while. Hopefully this next one will take not as long. I'm gonna actually time myself on this next one too. Okay, so before I start my next square, I'm gonna put on my Ashley Norton video.
Next up, we have Pilot Pete. You knew Luke P was a walk every season has one. We have Pizza Guy, Spaghetti Guy, Pizza Gate Guy. Oh wait, that guy's actually on this season. My favorite contestant from Hannah's season, John Paul Jones.
You know, I was spitting some bars like Willy Wonka, so no big deal.
And one thing I love about Miss Hannah Brown is that she can humble a man very quickly.
Gotta soothe and relax.
It's very sad that he's not out there getting concussions with Hannah right now. Farmhouse chic decor just does something to the brain. Hannah is just sitting having a conversation with Devin, but oh god, Cam is right there. The word analytical in a sentence. Oh, props to Cam for not even flinching when those chicken nuggets come flying at him. This group date is all about female anatomy and childbirth. Full minute in silence. Cut back to Luke P back at the mansion, and he's saying stuff like, if I was there, I'd never leave her. You can really start to see the jealousy get to Luke P.
19 minutes, 29 seconds. And I did have to switch to the 5mm. And look at this. We got the squares joined together. For the second half of this last round, I was coming up really short. So I ended up switching to the 5mm hook instead of the 5.5. And I think that honestly, that might be the way to go. It seems like even with that, for like the second half, I ended up with like being really, really close to the blue end. And I think that that makes more sense than like trying to make my tension a little bit tighter. But if I'm doing join as I go, I think I'm gonna need that. So here's what we have. You can see there's a slight difference in square size because I used 5.5 all the way around for this one and 5mm for, like I said, half of this one. So yeah, first impressions of this yarn. It is quite a bit softer than some of Red Heart's other yarn. It's pretty nice. I think that this would make a really good sturdy blanket or possibly garment, depending on how many squares I end up making. My biggest complaint, obviously, is that you're kind of stuck to this size of square. If I wanted to do like a half square or something else, then you'd kind of be stuck. But for what it is, it works pretty well. I'm not super fast at granny squares, so the fact that I did a 5-round granny square in 20 minutes is pretty good for me, and I think I'll only get faster the more I figure out how the tension works on these squares. I also want to say I saw this video on Instagram. Let me pull up who made it. Getting distracted. Okay, so I saw this video posted by Manic Changeling where they showed how this yarn can make a bunch of different granny squares, and they have some tutorials on their reels of different kinds of granny squares. There's the corner start, the square that like doesn't have holes. They have a hexagon one, they have a triangle one, an eyeball one, and apparently they are making more tutorials as well. So if you are not satisfied with the traditional granny square and you want to try out something else, this person has figured out how the yarn works for those as well, which I think is really cool. So yeah, my final review on this is if you make a lot of granny squares and you're using acrylic yarn anyway, if you like the colorways, if a 6-inch granny square is something that you could do something with, then I do think this yarn is totally worth it. For 2 skeins of these with shipping, I think I paid like $20. Each one of these makes 14 squares, so pretty good amount. If you've tried this, let me know what you think. If you've also been struggling with your tension, hopefully this helps a little bit. I say just switch around your hook size, switch around your gauge, try it out. I've only made 2. I feel like I've already gotten a little bit better at figuring out what works for me and my tension. So yeah, that's all for this one. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you have any other videos you want to see this year. I'm still working on my vlog for the When Harry Met Lucy sweater. It's just taking me a while to knit. Cables take me forever to knit, and I've been starting projects and not finishing them, which is so out of character for me. I never do that. Just kidding, I do that all the time. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, the link is listed down below. The Discord's really popping off right now. We're talking about book recs and, you know, sending work in progress pictures and stuff like that. And I'm also putting out a monthly Patreon podcast. And that's it. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.